Well, good morning. It is Monday. It is April 21st, just a little bit after 9 o'clock in the morning. And we're doing an NBC 10 coffee break this morning because it's been such a busy morning. Good morning. I'm Alison Bologna. We've been following breaking news all morning long. I got into the newsroom just around 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's when we learned our time that Pope Francis had died just before that at the age of 88 years old. The Vatican in Rome announcing his death overnight. And joining me now to talk about this is NBC 10's Gene Valicenti. We were talking also on Sunrise, Gene, about what a reformist he was, a rather progressive pope. And while we mourn him and look back at his legacy, we're also thinking ahead about what's next for the Catholic Church. It's kind of a pivotal time right now. Good morning.
Good morning, Alison. Well, I hate to be cliche, but the church really is at a crossroads.
It really is.
This last pope was really progressive, liberal wing of the church. He appointed a lot of cardinals who we assume will vote for the next pope in the same vein of Pope Francis. Although we don't know, are the conservatives going to, consolidate their power and wrest control and take the church back to the more traditional leadership of John Paul and Benedict after him? So I think that's an open question.
I think so too.
What's the future hold? Locally, this particular pope had a hand in picking our new bishop here.
So it was ultimately it was his decision alone.
Yeah, we understand, it was his pick. So this particular bishop really kind of reflects, at least my quick meeting with him. So it reflects I think the liberal views of Francis, not afraid to mix it up with politicians or politics in general. So I think it's very interesting that the passing of the Pope just comes a couple of weeks after we appointed our new bishop here in Providence.
And he just celebrated Easter Mass yesterday. People saw him for one of the first times since he's been sick, battling double pneumonia. And it looked like he was taking a turn for the better, not a turn for the worse. But here we are. It's interesting, too. We had a professor on from Providence College who was talking to us as well about the physicality of the Pope as well. He would embrace people. He was compassionate, somewhat conversational at times, too. So we'll see if the church moves forward with that. He was also trying to elevate women within the church, not going too far, as some would say, but it'll be interesting to see what happens next. My understanding is over the next 4 to 6, up to 9 days is when we'll see the Mass and the burial. And then the question is, who's next? And that could take many months. And it will be very ritualistic, as we know, and probably, Gene, right? Very political.
Well, listen, if you read the books, the Vatican invented political intrigue. Those are the halls where a lot of secrets are passed there. The conclave will come, I guess it'll start within 2 weeks' time. No idea on how long it will last. Curiously, this particular pope, he broke with tradition in many ways. He shunned the papal apartments. He chose to live in Casa San Marta, which is basically the hotel for visiting priests in the back of the Vatican. He doesn't want to be entombed in the crypt of St. Peter's. He chose rather to be entombed in Santa Maria Maggiore, which is one of two principal churches, but cross town in Rome. I happen to be there in October. He has a real spiritual connection with this particular church, Santa Maria Maggiore. And he would often go to this wall to the left of the church where he believed that there was an icon of Mary, and it was sort of a mystical portal for him. So it's very interesting the way he thought and how he
acted consistently with
where he wants to be.
Yeah, yes, and he was very consistent also with where he stood on things. I learned this morning he spoke like 6 languages. He's Italian, but grew up in Argentina, and really did want to be a pope for the people from everything I've read and seen. I was in Rome a couple of years ago, did not see the Pope, but did visit the Vatican and the square for sure. That was one story that broke this morning. And then just a few hours later, we heard about a legend, right? A political legend in Rhode Island, Senate President Dominick Ruggerio, 76 years old. He died earlier this morning. On Friday, Brian reported that he was back in the hospital. Greg Perry, one of the spokesman for the Senate, also confirming that as well. He's been sick for some amount of time, but still stayed in office. Some people were critical of him for that, but he really did believe in service. And we're hearing from so many speakers. We had the governor on this morning, Speaker Sicarci, and a lot of them were also just saying he was a good guy who believed in serving the community. And he did for how many decades?
Well, he was the longest serving state legislator that we've had. And listen, he consolidated power and he hung on to power, even following a challenge from his number two man, Senator Pearson, who had been handpicked by Ruggerio, was in behind closed doors in the inner circle. He mounted a coup against Dominick Ruggerio last year. It was unsuccessful, and he was in turn dispatched to the hinterlands, as they say. But Ruggerio managed to overcome that. The coup to displace him, put a new number two in, and seemed to be holding on. I had him on 10 News Conference in January. He didn't look good. You could clearly see that the cancer had taken a toll on his health in general. But he spoke about his agenda, healthcare, affordable housing, and I recall him mentioning this sort of legacy project of a medical school at URI.
Interesting.
He really spoke at length about that, and so I think that's something that he would like to see even after his passing as kind of a legacy to him. A medical school at URI, which is a very complicated process.
Very complicated to go up against Brown for sure, but we need more doctors at the same time. So he's probably onto something.
We do.
So, I think on a personal level, for you and I as anchors and reporters, I always found him to be accessible, easy to talk to. Pretty direct for the most part. What was your experience?
He always came on. We had him on 10 News Conference regularly, had him on the radio. Listen, politics is a rough game, particularly in Rhode Island. You've got plenty of critics. But today, the governor, Speaker Sicarci, the Republican minority leader, Jessica Dela Cruz, all complimentary of him and kind of his personal style.
Yeah, it was interesting listening to Jessica talk about how he always took her phone calls, even though they're on opposite sides. The door was always open.
Yeah.
Well, that was refreshing to hear for
sure. By the way, he was healthy for a good part of his life. He would work out and lift weights. It wasn't that long ago that he'd be at the gym every day. And then this cancer diagnosis, I think, really took a toll on him. He was in and out of the hospital and was hospitalized again on Friday.
So we'll be paying attention to this, of course, all week long about services for him as people remember him and reflect on his legacy, quite frankly, in Rhode Island. And also we'll be following who takes over next, right? I know it's a little too soon to talk about that, but it is politics and work at the State House has to go on. So we'll see.
Well, I expect a free-for-all fight. I think the progressives are really going to try to assert their authority and grab hold of that Senate leadership. Don't know if it's going to come to pass this time. But they're a force to be reckoned with up there. There's a far left wing of the Democrat Party that they've got several members, and they're very aggressive. And I think they see an opening here.
All right, we'll see
if there were succession plans left in place. Val Lawson.
Maybe I hadn't heard of any. Had you?
What?
I hadn't heard of any, like off the record, if you will, on background succession plans. So
obviously Val Lawson was his handpicked deputy, so we'll see if she emerges.
Maybe,
or whether she's going to get a challenge from other wings of that Democrat Party up at the Senate.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Gene. Well, I want to thank you for your time. It's been a busy morning, and I'll see you later today.
Well, it's only Monday, Alison.
It's only Monday, and it's only 9:18 on a Monday morning. So, yes. And our thoughts, of course, with everyone at the State House, and all the flags have been lowered as well.
Yeah, Governor said that I was going to do that right away.
Yeah, I think that's already happened. So, all right, Gene, I'll see you soon. You'll be back on at 6, and Brian Crandall will be on with all of this at noon today. Thank you. There is another story today. It's the 129th Boston Marathon. It's underway. Kennedy was with us this morning, and there she is with me right now. Kennedy, this morning, it started with you going to Hopkinton to the starting line to kick off the race, and then it quickly turned into another story. But let's go back to the marathon for today. Where are we? It's about 9:19, and I believe some of the runners are already in place and ready to go, right? Good morning.
Yeah, that's right. Just like you said, we had to switch gears a little bit, but definitely it's still an exciting day, an exciting Monday, 129th Boston Marathon, and a wheelchair division is about to kick off in a few minutes. I just saw a few of them kind of setting up and preparing, so that's going to be exciting. And then the pro athletes will probably follow suit around 9:30 soon after. So definitely an exciting day. We just talked to a few runners and spectators. They're feeling the love, and
they're so ready to go.
Yeah, and it's so cool talking to residents from Hopkinton, because they're just like, this puts our little small town on the map.
It does.
So the population grows. So that's always cool to hear.
We want to wish some good wishes out to Caitlin, too, a producer here at Channel 10. She's running today. She's been training. I think she was running at 1.20 to 50 miles a week to prepare for this. So we're going to stay on top of her, too. How's the weather, Kennedy? Everybody's been saying it's been a little chilly out there. Do you see it warming up at all? Because warmers mild is good for the runners. How's it feeling?
It's chilly to me, but just like you said, I think this
Yeah.
breeze is perfect for them. I would want it a little bit warmer, but I think this breeze is really going to help them. And just like you said, Caitlin, she starts running. She told me 11:15, so
Okay.
definitely we can follow her track number on the website too.
Oh,
So I'm
great.
excited to see that. And I talked to her. This is her first Boston Marathon. I know she's been preparing, running 10 miles, and just having it all ready.
Sure.
So this will
She's
be
all
super
in.
cool. Yeah, I know. It'll be super cool to watch her after.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Kenny, we're going to check in with you later. 30,000 runners this year, 129 years and counting. So we wish
Wow.
all the runners good luck. And of course, they're all raising money for good causes too. So that's extra special as well. All right, Kennedy, I'm going to let you go. Thanks so much. I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Thank you. See you tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow morning. All right, that does it for us this morning. As I mentioned, Brian Crandall will be here live at noon with reaction to the Senate president passing away after many, many decades in the Senate. And we'll have continuing coverage, of course, of the Pope passing as well. As we thank you for turning to 10 this AM and every other AM. Have a great day.